So y'all, come close, real close. Okay, not that close. I just got something to say. I am going to link another video of one of my classes, abstract drawing too. So that was our little secret that I had to tell you. Shh, stay tuned, and continue watching the video. Let's go see. Hey young artists, if you enjoy Draw and Paint What You Regret on YouTube and you would like to show your support, you can find Cash App and Venmo information below. This channel is free to watch and learn from. If you like any of my art products, please go to mpbimage.com to purchase. If you purchase, make sure you leave a comment so my product maker know that you've purchased from the YouTube link.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to start with just giving feedback on project one. So I'm going to start with Angie really quick because I know she's going to rewatch the video. So let me see if I can get both of these up. I'll probably just do them
Oh, how
at different times.
cool.
So she did do two pieces, and for what I can see, I know she
Of
used
course
color
she did.
pencils. But what I can see, she used color pencils, and I think she used markers as well. And I'm sure if I'm not seeing accurately, she'll let me know. But I think this came out quite beautiful. I love the design. I love the fact that we can still see, or at least still understand that this is a bird. I know she kind of put a little bit of a nets and some eggs in the corner. All honesty, I know Angie, when you watch this, I think the actual piece could have done without the eggs in the corner. Um, it doesn't necessarily, I don't, it doesn't necessarily, in my opinion, needs to be there, but what it is doing with being there, it helps us understand that if somebody is looking at this and they can't understand that it's an abstract bird, they have some type of indication that this is a bird or this is something that we're looking at that has wings, that is in flight, so on and so forth. But I do feel like it could have, we didn't really 100% need it for the competition. Does it look good in the competition? Yes, in my opinion. But I also, if I just take my fingers and block it out, I think it could have done without it as well. What I definitely do love about this piece is just really, really clear burnishing and also textured. So having a textured list areas for your color pencils approach and then also having burnished areas for the color pencils approach is a really good contrast. The different shapes is a beautiful contrast, and absolutely the color is just amazing. I love that we have these warms and cools. That definitely does help, and also our warms and cools are pretty much complements that are working together. That orange and the blue, and all of that is just so attractive to see. I just think it's a very beautiful piece, very elegant. Once again, another thing that could be framed. It's a beautiful drawing. I absolutely love it.
How'd she get the color so smooth? My
She was
gosh.
burnishing. Let me see if I can get them both up. Let me see if it'll let me. There you go. I know she was burnishing, and then plus she also used the Bristol vellum paper. So Bristol vellum paper is really good with Prismacolor pencils. So
Okay.
that's how she was able to do really, really smooth covering the
I mean,
surface
that
with very
blue, those blues are just amazing.
stunning. Just very
Yeah.
beautiful. Yeah. And I do know she has some marker areas as well that I can see. But it's quite beautiful. I'm just not sure if it's all alcohol markers or if she moved into her acrylic markers. But that's something she probably will let us know.
Yeah, that's great. Great. And this other one, oh my
Oh,
God,
yes.
that's so cool.
This is actually quite beautiful. And I just love the fact that let me move this back up. Oh, did not mean to do that. Get it together, Drew. Okay. I just love the fact that it's it's so abstract, but I still understand the fact that it's some type of a landscape or some type of zoomed in, maybe like a flower pot or grassy area, leaves, something. Like this is something that I know if I go
Great.
outside, I can see what's happening. It's just quite beautiful just to see all the shapes, and all the different shapes that are happening. So the variety of shapes within the composition, but they're also working as a unit. I absolutely love the color in this because we have this kind of green and red, which is a complement. Then we have an analogous way of using the different greens. Like we have yellow, yellow green. We also have a darker green in value, and then also we start to move into blue greens as well. So I think seeing all these different kind of contrasting colors is quite interesting and also a color harmony at the same time. If we think about orange, if we start to move orange towards the center of the color wheel, all orange is brown. So once again, we're still using a sense of color harmony within the composition. And then we have orange and blues, we have reds and greens. So those complements are quite beautiful along with analogous colorways. I'm not sure if that's what she was trying to do. I know she would tell us and that is what she was trying to do. But I love this piece. The fact that
That
it's
is
color
so
pencils, yeah,
rich. Yeah.
yeah, it's color pencils and it looks like a painting. Is very
Yeah, it totally does.
all of the
And the
burnished,
trims around the outlines, the brighter outlines
yeah,
around the different sections, it
yeah.
looks just pops, man. Looks
You
so
even have
good.
some areas, let me see if I can zoom in, where it's kind of like the stippling that's here. That's
Oh, wow.
beautiful. Oh, this is
That's
beautiful.
cool. Yeah.
She even have like hard and soft edges. Just a great job.
Yeah, that's
Great job.
terrific.
Beautiful piece. I'm sure she's gonna frame those pieces.
Well, she should.
Yeah.
It's great. It's really good.
All right, Karen. So I did go in and flipped everything over because I know you was like, it's upside down.
I couldn't get it around.
So, Karen, the one thing I absolutely love about this, for some reason, my brain instantly goes to artwork on a magazine or like a album cover or a CD cover. I have no idea why my brain instantly just goes to like graphic design or some type of advertisement for that.
Funny.
I love this piece. I think it's very beautiful. I love the fact that we have this accent of yellow against all of these very neutral colors. And what I mean by that, you're just leaning more achromatic with an accent color of yellow. And I love the simplicity of that because of the fact that you were able to control it and put the accent in just the right places that also balance the composition. So if we're looking at our colors, we have colors above, we have this yellow color also below. So they're balancing each other out along with when we have our achromatic colors, meaning just like, our white, our black, and also our different degrees of gray. That's also placed in a very strategic like way. The way that you placed it, where we have it in more of the middle ground, the foreground, it's all balancing each other. So I think you did a great job with just designing that. Once again, I love this little this little bug. It's just so cute and it's just dragging along this lemon. It's literally the same size as it. It's just cute. Like you want to know what the story is. You want to know what is going on. I just think you did a great job. This is very, very the most cutest little drawing that I've ever seen. I absolutely love it. So you did a great job with this.
I it was really hard to burnish the white.
Yeah, that I'm glad you said that. Prismacolor white is not as opaque on colored or toned paper. I usually have to switch over to a grease marker, which is basically like a Sharpie grease marker, and I think or Sharpie China marker, which is basically a pencil that has I don't know what the properties is because I know it. Yeah, I'm sure it's like greasy or waxy binder with
Okay.
white pigment. But that's a lot more opaque on tone paper than the Prismacolor white. So I did learn that just over time, just trying to figure out how can I get the white at its brightest. And also, you could have done a little bit more burnishing in some areas that may have helped with just coming in with very heavy pressure. And that also can help with the opaqueness of the white. But I do know that it's not overwhelming opaque or stark white. You typically don't get that with Prismacolor white.
Say that again, what it was, the grease
Um,
pencil or
Sharpie China marker,
Sharpie China?
marker. Yeah. And if I can find it on Amazon, I'll link it to the email.
China, like China?
Yeah, China
Okay.
marker. Yeah. Most students when they see it, they're like, "Oh, like a grease marker or a grease pencil," and I'm like, "Yeah," because I never heard it that way. I always heard it as a China marker.
Okay. Um, so I can I ask you a couple things about it
Yeah,
and your
yeah.
opinion?
About
Okay.
the your piece or the pencil.
The piece. There's actually I tried a couple different ways to burnish the white. One with just the white thing, and uh
Oh, so that those the stumps are, I think you have a stump in your hand, what I can see. They're really good when it comes to pastels,
okay,
charcoal. They're really good for that. Can you blend with those with color pencils? Yes, but you're you may damage your stump in the process because you really have to scrub really hard just to get it to blend, and you do have to have a lot of pigment on your paper. For what I
okay.
can see, in certain areas you don't really have a lot of pigment.
Well,
And
and then I did this one for some of the time too.
yeah, that should work, but you still would need to have a lot more pigment down. And what I mean by that, you just need heavy pressure on your color pencil to make sure that you're covering up the gray of the paper. And then you're able to go over it with possibly your alcohol marker would be better than the stump for blending, in my opinion.
Okay.
But you just want to make sure you have more than enough pigment down. Because if not, if you're not covering the gray of the paper, it's not going to blend the way that you would need it to blend. Um, hopefully, does that help?
Yeah, and I don't I I couldn't feel like more was going down as I was going over it again. I mean, it just felt like I don't know. I don't couldn't get it to go.
One thing I do know is once you kind of weaken the binder, so let's say you have heavy pigment on your paper, you come in with your marker and then you start to uh,
Uh-huh.
blend the color together. What's happening is the marker weakens the binder and it releases the pigment. So typically most color pencil artists they would say once it kind of that layer completely dry, you go back on top of it with your color pencil layer to add more layers to the paper.
Okay.
So that can happen. A lot of color pencil artists they'll put a lot of pigment down, use the marker to release the pigment, and they'll let it dry, and then they'll come with some more layers of color pencils, use the marker to let it dry. So it is a
Okay.
lot
So
of
you can sandwich the layers.
yeah,
Okay.
it's a
I thought
lot
you
of
had to have all the marker down. I mean, all the pencil down first. Okay.
yeah,
Okay. That's good.
because the marker kind of how would you say weakens the binder. That is what allows the paper to give you more layers that you can put down on the paper with your color pencil.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So like I said, what I can see is just that you need more pigment down for it to work.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Other
And
than
then
that,
a couple questions just I mean, I know there's not rules, but do you think it would benefit from a couple of things, from outlining
uh,
either the car or the lemon in, a dark gray or black or not?
that's a good question. For me, I like it the way that it is,
Okay.
but I can envision those lines being around the car and the lemon and how it possibly would change the dynamics of the actual image.
Okay.
So I think for me, I think either or would work. But like I said, I actually don't mind how you have it right now. But I also know that line would probably separate the car and also the lemon from the background.
Yeah.
So it'll make it look rather different.
Yeah, that's what I was afraid to experiment. The other question that I wondered about, like in the windows and right around the tires of the car, um, should should there be like a light pencil hatching or
You
something? I
could
mean, it's just blank now. Would it benefit from something in there?
you could put hatching lines in. You can draw outlines on the outside of the windows, or you could do hatching lines. Once again, it don't bother me right now. Like
Okay.
it is nothing like I probably as a viewer, because I'm t basically a viewer right now. Um, as a viewer, for me, I just kind of feel like maybe the windows are what is that when windows have condensation on them, you kind of can't see through the window anyway, and
Right,
that's what
right.
it kind of reminds me of, like maybe it's a little steamy or smoky in the Beetle. That's how I'm just kind of seeing it. But yes, if you wanted to add some outlining, if you wanted to add some hatching lines, once again, it will change what it will look like, and I don't think it would hurt. But either
Okay.
or, it doesn't bother me. Like I understand what I'm seeing.
Okay.
Actually looks really good. It's
The
just
other thing that I discovered, unfortunately, is I did the front wheel first,
uh-huh.
and it when I did the blending with the marker, it
Are you talking about the bleeding started that's happening
yes,
around it? You
yeah,
can always go back over that with your color pencils and just clean up that line.
okay.
Yeah, you could definitely do that. It's just really cute. I mean, it's a good thing that I'm like staring at it. Like I always tell my students, if you got me to stop and stare and want to explore even more, you did your job as an artist, you know? So that's
Yep.
always a good thing. Great
And
job.
one other thing to point out, just because it does not come through in the photograph at all, but the Steinway and Sons at the top
Uh-huh.
is actually acrylic. It's gold.
It comes through as gold.
Does
Like
it? Okay.
it's shiny. Like
Okay.
I
Yeah.
can honestly tell that it's not the same thing as the color pencils and or the blending that's happening with the card and also the lemon. Although they're the same value in color, but it's shiny,
Yeah.
so that gives me a little bit of that metallic
Okay.
that is
All right.
happening. Once again, even with the font, if you wanted to go in and outline it to balance out whatever outlining you're doing in the foreground, I think
Uh-huh.
that also would be something that would make it a little bit more interesting and also give it a little bit of a different look to it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Okay. All
it is
right.
a really beautiful balanced composition that you have going on, and I just love that your font, like your typography, isn't overwhelming. Like what I mean by that is my eye is going to where I believe you want our eye to go to. But also, if I start to just travel around, I love the fact that this is secondary in what's basically the dominant image that I need to look at. I love how you made it's funny because they're the same value, same color, but I understand that this is secondary to look at, and this is the
Mm-hmm.
first thing that I need to look at it. And so I think you did a great job with that because it's so subtle. Like that's not something I don't think that's something I would even thought through as an artist, but you did it in such a subtle way, and it's just a great almost it's almost genius in a way how you placed
Oh,
everything.
good. I love
It's
it.
what I'm trying to say because it's like, man, my eye, and it could be contrast. It could be just the contrasting in the background, and it's why my eye is sitting here. And then the texture and the two different textures that are happening here. That's probably why this is kind of secondary for me. And then this is
Yeah.
the most dominant area that I need to look at. You did a great job just
Thank you.
balancing everything out.
One more question about would it help or not? The black keys now are obviously just flat. Would it would it help to have a little 3D, on the right side to give a little dimension? Or, it's abstract. That's fine, be flat. What do you think?
For me, I am enjoying the fact that it's flat because I think it adds, and not so much, it's cohesive. Everything else is kind of flat. And that gives it a sense of like a harmony throughout the whole composition. I think if we start to lean into three dimension, which you are indicating some areas of three dimension, but I think if we start to lean into that, it could, how would you say, like it would be interesting to look at because there would be a contrast of flat and three dimension, those two worlds that typically don't go
Uh-huh.
together. Um, but right now there is a harmony in everything that you have. Your color harmony is there. You also have shape as a harmony. Even with your typography, that still falls flat as well. Like all of it, it really does work all in all.
Okay.
So I think if you do come in and you play with a little three dimension, you probably would have to, I would say, use it as a either focal point, meaning maybe we have three dimension in a lemon, or maybe we just have three dimension in the car, or maybe we just have three dimension in like you said, the piano, the keys. Um, I would say just be kind of make sure you're picking and choosing where you're going to place that three dimension.
Okay.
That way you don't lose too much of the harmony in your composition. But the contrast, you may want that.
Okay.
Really good job. Like
Thank you.
for some reason, like I said, I can see it on a t-shirt. My brain goes straight into advertising.
That's funny. That's funny.
It is really cute. Great job, Karen. All right. So, oh, quick question because I know you were starting on this one. Are you gonna go back into this and finish it out, or are we
I hadn't really gotten, I was just focusing on the other one.
the other one? Yeah. Well, when you get time, I think you have something is happening in this area for this actual still life, and I like it. I like what's happening abstract wise. So when you get time, I would suggest just kind of play around with it, figure out if that's it is something that you want to complete because the start of it is quite interesting to see.
Okay.
Yeah. Great job on that.
Other question. The first picture I have here, that's just the junk page. Is that a good way? Is there what's a good way to experiment with how things are going to look on the page and the colors and things like that? Is it what suggestions do you offer there? Because that process is part of the key, I know, and it'd be nice to
So what you're
know
doing so
effective ways.
far, this is actually what you should be doing to start.
Okay.
So this is telling me you're trying to not only figure out how to manipulate your materials, but it's also telling me this is just kind of your way, like your brain of organizing your ideas onto a sheet of paper. So and I'm gonna be honest, from here, what I would do as an artist, I would do a small thumbnail um
Okay.
on the same sheet of paper just to see how overall how everything is going to look. Because it's smaller, you're able to get through it a lot quicker. And then that would be something that I would use for the final product.
Okay.
Um, the more you kind of the more preparatory studies that you do and the more you kind of exhaust your ideas, the better for the end product because you are already go into that end product knowing what you need to do first, second, third. So
Okay.
it's not a mystery. So like stuff like this, I love seeing this because this is your process. You're trying to figure out, okay, how can I layer my tools and what else can I bring in? Like you have your metallics that you started to bring in to see how well they work on top of color pencils. You can see that I believe is it charcoal or graphite?
Yes.
But
I think that's a charcoal.
But you see how like you're trying to figure out, okay, how can I layer things? How is it gonna look? Is it gonna work if I come in with lines over flat tone? So all of this is telling me that you were really trying to work it out. You can see your notes and everything. So this is just you just trying to figure out, okay, how does my tools work? Then the next thing you would do is a couple of little thumbnails to kind of get an idea of putting everything together so you can visually see it. And then that
Okay.
also gives you a process. Wait. Angie is signing in.
Oh, good. Okay,
Yeah.
that's good to come.
So yeah, no, this is definitely it's the way to go. It's just the next thing you would do is do your thumbnails after that, and then after that, you would do your finished project for the piece.
Okay.
But good job. I love seeing like just the metallics. The fact that you were like, I'm gonna have to bring these markers out and I'm not gonna be scared of it is really interesting.
That's funny. Funny.
All right. Hey Angie, I know you got your mic is still on.
Oh, Angie, they're beautiful.
Yeah.
Hey, uh, I'm sorry. I wasn't planning on being here, but the procedure had to get rescheduled, so I'm here.
Oh, okay, okay,
So
okay.
I'll lay down my. Oh,
Lovely. Just so cool.
Yeah, I did give you a little bit of feedback at the beginning, and I can repeat it. So we were just talking about how beautiful the pieces are. I know for the start, what I definitely do love about the pieces is the fact that, and I didn't see this at first, but the fact that I believe you use markers for the background striping, right?
yeah, that's the only thing I use the markers for.
Okay, okay, because I thought it was in other areas in the foreground, but all of this is just burnishing, right? For
Yep.
the pieces. Yeah,
That's
great
amazing
job.
burnishing. So smooth. Wow.
Great
Yeah, I
job.
wasn't I wasn't sure if it was going to be consistent with the assignment because it's burnishing and it is smooth, but I thought we were supposed to also be blending. And I was blending, but I had different colors. Like on the wing there, it was poppy red and then some orange to make it more consistent with the orange colors.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I'll be quiet.
Oh
So
no, like
smooth.
what I love about it, in all honesty, when we think about color pencils and all the different techniques, that was just there to help you guys if that was something you want to do. Like if you wanted to lean more towards the texture side of color pencils, or if you want to lean towards the more smooth burnished side of color pencils, um, you have an idea of how to manipulate your materials. So that's really wasn't what it was. Now, how you chose um to use your color pencils is quite interesting because you have certain areas that are textured and very thin apply a pigment. Then you have other areas where it's very heavy burnished pigment. And I think that contrast is quite interesting to see. And I think you did a great job of just kind of balancing that out. And I love how you came in with this marker background. One thing that I did when I did look at it, even when you texted to me, I was looking at the bird, actually the bird basket with the eggs in it. And all honesty, although doesn't it doesn't hurt the composition at all, but I was looking at it and I was blocking out the bird basket, and I was just kind of like, I think the composition could have done or could have been strong without it. Um,
Oh,
it just
okay.
kind of looked like for me, it was one of those, how would you say? It was a placement that you put there that I don't almost kind of like a second thought or something, but it was something that was an indication that way if somebody looked at this, they'll understand that this is a bird, you know? Because if you're not
Oh,
yeah, if you're not really, for us, we understood where you were going when it comes to like the context of it, the content of it. But if it's somebody that is just kind of a layman at art and they're just kind of not paying attention, they probably wouldn't have known that this is a bird, right? But what helps is the basket with the eggs, to kind of give the viewer that indication. But I personally feel like it could have been strong without it that's there as far as the design is concerned. So
mhm.
it's kind of like a push and pull. Do we put these kind of, how would you say, um, do we put these images in that kind of help the viewer with understanding the composition, or do we allow the viewer brain to figure it out type thing? So it's always kind of a weird slope when it comes to that because I know when I was a student, I used to couldn't understand why my professor was like, don't give your viewer everything. Don't tell them the whole story. Let their brain figure it out. And this is kind of like one of those times where I kind of get that whole idea of we could have kept it out, but I understand why it's there, because it's just more so an indication for a viewer. And I could be adding more to the composition, versus just asking you like, okay, why did you put it there?
I'll tell you why I put it there. I put it there because the bird is big and the nest is small, so that juxtaposition as far as abstraction.
Hmm.
That's why I put it there, not because I feel like if you can't tell that's a bird, without the nest. I mean, I think people can tell it's a duck, it's a bird, it's something flying, or
Yeah.
those actually don't even fly that much, but
Yeah, no,
Well,
I think
they
it's
have
very
pretty big
cool.
feet, don't they?
they have big feet and they don't nest um, they don't make nests in like a traditional way that we think of. What they do is they create like nests in rocks that have like concave indentations or
What?
in
Yeah,
the
I had
soil.
a problem with this bird's nest not being in a rock. I noticed that right off that was not reality.
Funny, yeah. Anyway, so yeah,
Oh, okay.
that's what I
Well,
was thinking.
that makes sense. I think for me, it's just that we kind of, how would you say, it it could just be like these two things are in the kind of, this is more of a middle ground, foreground type thing. Like this could have played with that whole idea of something scale and proportion, with the whole idea that this is very huge and this is very small as well. But overall, like I said, it's still a beautiful piece. I absolutely
So
love it.
cool.
And this is one of those pieces that, once again, you should frame it. Like you have a really good eye for abstract drawing or abstract art in general. And also, and you have a really good eye for it, a really good hand for it. Um, and I think it's quite beautiful. So
You
definitely
totally
continue.
do.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so how do you get the sharp, first of all, the sharp colors are so cool, but then that they're right up next to each other and they don't bleed into each other. That's so impressive. How did you do that?
Well, I mean, I kept going over it and pressing hard.
Uh-huh.
But I burnished one section before I went to the next. And the other thing is, I'll like, if it's not a rounded thing, if it's a straight thing, I'll
Uh-huh.
use a ruler and go along, like this. And
Yeah. Okay. On
so,
on both the color, the pencil and the burnish.
yes,
Okay.
not
It
the
just
not the
looks so
burnish.
good.
The burnish, I don't know. It
You
just,
free-handed your burnish, all of that?
yeah.
Wow. Okay.
That
What
is
else? How
beautiful.
else would I do it?
I don't know if you could use I tried using a ruler on even the burnish marker and
Yeah, you can, I mean, it's either or.
it looks so good.
I think it depends on the artist. If you want to freehand your burnishing, if you want to use some type of straight edge, you can do that too. I think it's no wrong way of doing it, but because burnishing is just
Right.
quite, is a unique method that
Yeah, I
anybody can
just
do
used
it.
the burnishing marker.
Yeah,
Wow.
I actually bought three of them
you did.
because of the colors. It picks up too much of the
Different.
color. Then
Yeah,
you have to get it off, and
yeah.
so I've got one for darks, one for lights, and one for mediums.
Look at you. Yay.
And like the black on the blue down there, are those, did you put one on the black on top of the blue or is it really next to it?
Next to it,
Wow. 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 Okay.
next
Oh,
to it.
wow.
Very impressive.
All
Thank
right,
you.
Angie. So the second one, in my opinion, is quite beautiful because I do know the still life that you were using wasn't it a glass bowl?
It was a glass piece that I made.
Yeah,
You
and
made that?
Yeah, yeah.
I made it in glass first, and I really liked the design.
Yeah,
And so, yeah.
that
So
is just gorgeous.
crazy enough, what I love about it is although I know the still life you use, it does trigger just a some type of sense in my brain where I'm like, oh, I know this is grass. I know that it's flowers. I know, like, it's so tangible to, my imagination and also what I see in real life. The fact that I instantly get that when I see this work. Although it's very abstract, it still feels like some type of either I'm looking in a flower pot or what is it, the looking outside at a flower bed. It's something that I'm zooming in on and paying attention to. Even what I was telling Karen earlier, if you zoom in, you can see like little stippling that's
Yep.
here. That is just quite beautiful because it's just one of those things that you got to really take out some time and look around and explore to kind of see just some of the smaller nuances that you have there. And what I love about all the burnishing, just kind of like Karen said, you have some areas where it's sharp, some areas where it's a little firm, some areas where it's a little lost. Like you really were just trying to, whether it was something you were consciously doing, it ended up happening, probably unconsciously, but I think you did
Oh,
a
good.
great
I
job.
think a lot of it is unconscious.
Let
So, Karen, here, I don't know if you can see that.
me see if I can stop sharing and then I can pin you so we can see it.
That's the glass piece. It's about 18 by mm, maybe 16 by 22.
That is gorgeous. Yeah, that is gorgeous.
Anyway, so I took the inspiration from there because I really like it, but yeah.
Did you do the fish behind you?
Uh-huh.
So good. So good. I love that.
All right, so let me share my screen
All
again.
right, I'm eating.
All right, and
Oh, do I get to hear Karen's and see Karen's?
yeah, let me back up for you. So this is Karen's piece, and I was telling her earlier.
Oh,
Yeah, I was telling her earlier. I was like, I don't
how
know
cute.
what it is, but this is something that I personally feel like I can see on an album cover or a
Guys,
magazine cover,
Karen,
a
can I take
book.
a picture of it?
What?
Can I take a picture of it? May I?
Oh, of course. And there's your the
Yeah,
hooks on there are
the
inspired by
hookup.
you.
The hookup.
Yeah,
I think it's really cute. I don't know. Do you like it? I mean, do you like the hookup
I
part?
do. I do.
Yeah, I think it's adorable.
Yeah, I also was telling her what I love about it is just the balance throughout the whole, there's a harmony and a balance throughout the whole composition. Because I love the fact that we have the balance of the yellow colors, and but also there's a dominance with her objects that are in the foreground. Like she has a very genius way of kind of playing with this because in my mind, this comes first, like my eye comes here first, and then I move up here, but there's a balance between the two colors. And then the fact that she was playing with this kind of like matte flat colors, and then she was playing with this kind of just kind of like what is it? My brain is going to all types of words, but not the word that I need. But metallic. So it's kind of this metallic kind of shine that you get from this, but it's still not dominant. But what's still dominant in my view is what's in the foreground. And like I was telling her, it could be
Yeah,
the contrast of the white and the black that our eye just instantly go there. Just it's just balance of texture. There's a texture down here, texture up here. Just a very genius way of just organizing the composition and staying within a harmony of all of these different elements and also color as well. I love the accent color of yellow next to black and white. Typically, when we think about black and white in that type of like monochromatic colorway, and we think of an accent color, we typically think of red. So the fact that you plugged in a yellow, I think is quite beautiful to see next to this kind of achromatic color scheme that you have going on. Quite beautiful.
She
Yeah.
said she said genius. Did you notice that, Angie? I have that on tape. I have that on tape.
Hey, I love. I mean, I love a lot of it. I love the just the fun of it. Um, I love the way that your ivories look.
Mm. Hmm.
Like it's just it just looks like yeah. It looks great.
Great job.
Thank you.
And
I was saying
also,
the white was really
Hard.
not very. I didn't burnish it very well at all, but that's
Well,
okay.
but they look good because you know in ivories, I mean, there is always this off-white to the gray,
Yeah, yeah.
and so they're cool. I like them.
Well, what I did like was a lot was the bottom part, the front of the keys
Uh-huh.
uh is a different texture and very, very light pigment and color.
Right, but it
And I
looks
think
like
that's right. I think
yeah,
that's
the
okay.
lid's coming down and you
Yeah,
see
yeah,
some shadow.
yeah.
Yeah, no, it's cool. I like it a lot.
that's beautiful. Great job, Karen. Just both of these pieces are really beautiful job. Yeah. I really like the is it the white acrylic white or is it the metallic silver that you have on the tire rim?
It's gray with a little bit of metallic silver.
Okay. I
Yeah,
love that
that's a nice touch.
because it gives us that kind of uh I know there's a word and I always use a slang word for it. It gives us kind of like this like bling kind of
Oh,
highlight,
yeah.
you know, that is just quite beautiful because sometimes when we have, I think it's called spectrum lighting. I think that's what it's called. When it's like jewelry shining in our eye and we get that highlight, that very bright highlight from jewelry, that's what I'm
Oh,
getting
hmm.
from the rim and from that metallic because it's and it could just be how it's photographed and how the light is hitting it. But you know, it's something that's kind of shiny or not shiny, but you know how we have chrome rims and it kind of gives you that feel or that idea when we see
Right.
like chrome rims shining in the light and it that light bounce back into our eyes. Great job. Like very subtle things that are just happening in this piece that is just quite beautiful that I love. Yeah. All
Yeah.
right, guys, I'm happy. All right, so let me open up our folder back up. So when it comes to the start of this week, we're in the last 2 weeks of the class. So the next assignment, I know I said this in the email, that we don't have a demo video for this assignment. So I do have a note in my folder to make a demo video, but I'm still battling with myself on should I or should I not do it. The reason why, because this assignment is a self-driven assignment. Yes, there are things that I'm putting into place where I'm telling you, okay, this is your element, this is your principle, this is the whole theme of the actual project. But the reason why I'm battling with do I want to make a video of it because I really want students to I don't want to influence your creativity. Although when it comes to abstract drawing 1 and 2, students have their own creativity and what is going to come out of students are going to come out of students. So that's why I'm battling with do I want to make a video or not make a video? But the actual work that comes out of this project is still quite beautiful, and students get the idea, they know what to do. So I guess I'll jump that hurdle eventually if I want to make a video for this assignment. So just once again, I know that was long and drawn out. I just want to let you guys know there isn't a demo video for today. I am going to lecture. I will talk about the next assignment and also talk about the handout, and then the rest of the class period is going to be for you guys to start your thumbnails and get your ideas down. So let's get started on the lecture and just give my computer some time to open up the program.
Do you have a page of anything in the Google Notes?
I don't have the handout in the chat just yet. I am gonna drop
Okay,
it in
that's fine.
there once we're done with lecture. That way you guys have it.
Okay.
I'm laughing because I feel like my computer is acting like Zoom. It's just taking its time. So Angie, this morning, like Karen was trying to sign in, and Zoom was just like taking forever just to sign her in. Like I had, yeah, I clicked admit, and we were just sitting there. She ended up texting me, and she was just like, "It's moving slower, slower than me today." Angie, unmute yourself.
I did that so I wouldn't miss anything. Ha.
Yeah. You were like, I'm going to slow the class down today.
Yep.
All right, guys. So let me click over to presenter's view. And take that out. So I'm going to close the grid out. All right, guys. So we're moving into project two. So project two is what we're going to be working on for the next 2 weeks. So today is pretty much just getting the idea out for what the project is. Then also today in class, you guys are going to start your thumbnails to get your ideas and how to arrange or compose your composition for this actual project. This is a self-driven assignment, and it's pretty much just intro to cubes and patterns. So that gives you an idea that we are using an element of form because we're using cubes, and we're also using a principle of patterns. So when it comes to this assignment, the big question is what are the different types of cubes, right? Or you can say what are the different types of forms that we definitely can use in this project. So in art, a cube is a basic form, and there are many ways to use cubes in different contexts. So perspective, so we already know you definitely use 1 point and 2 point perspective in the work to kind of help us to get cubical forms and organize those forms within a composition. So you definitely use perspective. You also can use geometric shapes, which is cubes are a type of geometric form, which are regular shapes that can be expressed mathematically or in words as well. So another thing that you can definitely turn cubical is the human body. So um, if you think about cubism, that's kind of the idea of where this assignment tends to go for a lot of young artists. So when it comes to the head, you could turn the head into a cube. You could turn the rib cage into a cube. You could turn the pelvis into a cube. This can be represented as cubes to show how they move into space. So, Angie, I know you took a figure drawing with me, beginner and actual figure drawing class, and you are probably well aware of the cubes, using cubes as a face, or using the cubes as a rib cage, or even a pelvis, or using more or I guess you could say spheres and ovals for the head, the rib cage, and also the pelvis. So this can be turned into the human body can be turned into a cube. So complex forms. So artists can use cubes to understand and recreate complex forms in nature. So you can always turn any type of landscape into cubes. So we did see last mini session, we did see and she used this kind of idea for her landscape. So that gives you an idea of how you can use complex forms, even for landscapes. So wall drawings. So when it comes to Lewitt's, I think it's so Lewitt, I could be pronouncing his name wrong, but wall drawings from the late 1960s often repeated basic geometric forms, including, I think it's somebody help me with that word. But I think it's
Quadrilaterals.
Quadrilateral.
quadrilateral, okay, quadrilaterals, spheres,
Quad.
and also
Like your
triangles.
quads. Like your quads.
Like your quads, quadrilateral. I swear, any word that has more than 10 letters, my brain is like, nope. No. I'm not gonna figure that out for you. But including quadrilaterals, spheres, and also triangles. So that is something that a lot of the wall drawings of the 1960s were using at that time. And then when it comes to just drawing, artists can practice drawing cues from different angles. So that always is something that we definitely can rely on when it comes to designing a composition with this type of form.
Oh, that's
So
cool. I just looked him up.
yeah, actually, this is one of his pieces that he did. So it says forms derived from a cube, and then of course this was 1982. So I was born when this was created. So, but this is pretty much
Hey,
a print. This is an etching, and it's aquatint, and also it's I think it's Somerset satin white paper. So I don't know what type of paper that is, but it's quite interesting to see this piece, and it's interesting to know that it is an etching. So very beautiful work when it comes to just thinking about how to design with cubical forms. Another thing that we always think about is cubism with Picasso. So cubism is very abstract, and really you're just deconstructing whatever you probably would see in life. So the whole idea of taking an image and just kind of tearing it up and dropping it on the ground and seeing what happens. Because really, when you think about cubism, we're just kind of deconstructing, opening up the cube, and we're seeing that from all angles without having to walk in the round of it. And that's pretty much what's happening. Like if we look at Pooh Bear that is here, we still understand that this is Winnie the Pooh, but because we're seeing him from all different types of angles, it's quite interesting to look at, right? And then we see a portrait that's kind of in a cubism style, which we're still seeing form, but we're seeing these very geometric shapes placed in very interesting ways. That kind of gives us a very cubism idea, a still life that is dealing with just these very organic and also geometric shapes that not 100% is creating form, but it's giving us that great illusion of form as well. So quite beautiful way to deal with cubes within a composition. So if we're looking more towards non-objective, because some of you guys may decide, okay, yes, I want to do abstract, but you also have the choice if you want to do non-objective. So although this is non-objective, we're not going to 100% get a sense of three dimension in the composition, but you can see how we still have this very geometric cubical kind of form of way of designing within a composition. So we have shapes that are connected together that is giving us a sense of form, but we know that it's just shapes that are connecting together that is more flattened and opened up within a composition. But a very beautiful way of composing with non-objective and using this kind of cubical idea, whether it is the actual form or whether it is shapes, it's quite beautiful to see it in a very non-objective way. So I wanted to also make sure I'm just giving guys examples of that. When it comes to patterns, so patterns used in art, we definitely do know that we have tackled the principle of patterns. It's pretty much just using one unit, you're repeating that one unit of elements within a composition, whether it is a regular pattern or whether it is an irregular pattern, right? So you could definitely use pattern to your advantage. So if we know our actual element is forms, then that means that we want to think about the type of forms we're using in our unit and how we're going to place it within our composition. So there are two basic types of patterns in art: natural patterns and man-made patterns. Both natural and man-made patterns can be regular or irregular, organic or geometric, structured or are decorative, positive or negative, and repeating or random. So it kind of gives you an idea of how you can place patterns within a composition. So once again, this derives definitely from the Google. Pretty much we have complex patterns. These patterns are difficult to identify at first glance, but they use a combination of different patterns and motifs. Geometric patterns, which we're pretty much comfortable with and we're used to within a composition. So this is very much irregular when we think about it. Each unit is kind of placed not 100% repeated side by side. Is a little bit more irregular. So it's in areas where it's not placed. It's kind of like a drop pattern where a pattern is here, but also next to it is below another pattern above. So that tends to happen within geometric patterns if you're using your pattern in that unit. irregular patterns. So this is more so abstract, something you make up when it comes to your patterning. Natural patterns. So we know that nature definitely does give us a lot of patterns. If we think about a turtle shell, if we're thinking about the prints that's on a cheetah, if we're thinking about even slicing open an orange, there's patterns that are inside of an orange. So nature will give us its own patterns as well, which is quite beautiful to see. Very organic patterns. Then we have very unique patterns that are dealing with, I think it's Zentangle patterns, um, which is very much abstract in its nature, in my opinion, but it also says a miniature abstract pattern that are created through focus. So if we're looking at this, it's very curvilinear in its pattern shape. When you're seeing how it's repeated, it's also an irregular pattern because we have these kind of drop patterns that are happening within the actual composition. So quite beautiful to see. And of course, Mandela's, I think it's Mandela patterns, which we are very much used to seeing this type of pattern being used, and also a lot of artists do construct this. Quite beautiful because it's a radial composition. So if we're looking at vertical and horizontal, things are placed within that space in that way. So this is still kind of an irregular patterning that's happening, but it's also quite beautiful to see. So we do want to think about all the different ways that we can design with pattern because it definitely does help with our composition. And also just be creative. A lot of times being very abstract with your patterning is what makes it so interesting to see. Even whether you're leaning towards, geometric, which kind of plugs in a little bit of math, or if you're being more organic about it and freehand about it, you still want to make sure you're being very creative when it comes to it. So when it comes to the last of our color schemes, and I don't think I got through all of them, but at least you got a clear idea that there are color schemes that are out there. There are books that are out there to help. 'Cause I know I dropped in your Google file um, the actual color scheme book that kind of helps you with organizing colors, or developing your own color wheel, so on and so forth. So to start with, this is pretty much CMYK. So this color scheme basically just deals with advertising, printing. So our printer is on a CMYK color wheel. So that means that we have yellow, we have magenta, cyan, and also when you mix these colors together, that creates black. So artists can definitely use this type of color wheel and this color scheme within their art. These days, you can buy even paint that comes in a set as a CMYK, and you can paint with them if that is the color wheel that you choose to paint with. So it's very graphic in how you're looking at it because we don't think of, a pure red, a pure blue, and a pure yellow, but seeing it in art is quite interesting as well.
What's the K stand for?
Black, yeah.
Oh,
And then, of course, saturated color schemes. And I believe I have talked about this. If you, and I think I have, if you're going to use saturated color schemes, I think it's a quite beautiful color scheme. I always tell students, because this was told to me, and it definitely clicks and makes sense because there is a contrast with that. When it comes to saturated, I always tell students pull into the center of the color wheel with those colors, or even the tints with those colors because that helps with the composition not looking so overwhelming when with these very bright, intense colors. So, can you compose with these colors? Yes. You just have to figure out how to manipulate it to where it's not too bright for your viewer and too overwhelming for your viewer to actually look at. So that is something you want to consider, which that will bring me to the next one. And so when it comes to saturated and neutral scheme, that type of color wheel, once again, you are using your saturated colors, but you're pulling into the center where you're using your pastels or your grays. As you can see, this does help. That contrast helps us balance these very bright colors out. And it's not too overwhelming to look at or too overwhelming to see. So this, you're a little bit more relaxed or a little bit more subtle with all of the colors. When we look at this, it's still very intense, but quite beautiful to look at because we have very out of the two type colors that is on this composition. And we don't think to design in that way with these very intense colors, but you just want to play around with it and figure out, okay, how can I make these colors work for the composition, but not making so overwhelmingly bright for my viewer. So when it comes to project two for this actual project, once again, we're going to start it the same way that we have started every other project. You're going to come up with three ideas, linear ideas in your sketchbook. And once you get to an idea that you absolutely love, we're going to pick that finalized idea. And you're going to do two, at very least two color thumbnails to kind of help with figuring out what color scheme you want to use. And by all means, you guys, if you're just kind of like, oh, I'm not a fan of any of these color schemes, you could definitely start to look into other colorways, or if you want to make your own colorway or color scheme, you definitely can do that as well. So you from the two color thumbnails, you're just going to choose one to help you with your final project. So that's going to be your thumbnail reference. Once you have that down, then you can start the actual final project. Once again, when it comes to this project, it is a self-driven assignment, allowing students to choose their paper size, and also materials. So I don't have a hand in any of that. That is your decision when it comes to what you're using with your materials. So student choice is your choice if you want to do non-objective art or if you want to do abstract art when it comes to this project. And also when it comes to theme, yes, it is your choice, but kind of think about it. I am giving you a bit of a hint of a theme, telling you to use cubes and patterns. But it's definitely your choice and your idea what type of theme you want. And then assign the element, although I'm telling you to use form. And when it comes to abstract drawing too, basically we do focus on the element of color. If you want to add, let's say, shapes or lines, so on and so forth, you could definitely do that when it comes to the elements. Principle of design is still your choice, although I'm telling you to use pattern. If you want to add variety, if you want to add balance, if you want to add contrast, you could definitely do that. And then student choice of color scheme. So I am telling you you can use saturated and neutral, RC and YK. And once again, if you're just like, hey, I don't want to use none of these color schemes, you could definitely choose your own color scheme to use. So for today, we are definitely going to start with our thumbnails and just get our ideas out. It's always best to just start there, and then we can start to manipulate our thumbnails to help us with um, getting our ideas for our project.
What
So
about medium? I mean, what about
the medium is up to you. That's your choice.
okay.
So if you want to do like strictly color pencils, you could do strictly color pencils. If you want to do mixed media, you could do mixed media. If you want to do watercolors, you could do watercolors. It's really your choice on medium of what you want to do. Yeah. So when it comes to project two, I just wanted to show you guys some of the abstract drawing to students that did do this project. You guys have seen, I think, the image that's on the left and also the right.
Yeah.
But you're able to get to see how other students have chosen to use their cubes, whether it's in shapes, but that whole cubicle pattern, the whole idea. We definitely do know this student that is on the right, she pretty much just tore up an image and then she organized it in a completely different way. And then the student that's in the center, I definitely do know you guys didn't see this one. But what I love about this when you do see or you think about a peacock, it's quite beautiful to see their feathers when they start. I think it's the males when the males are, trying to get another female attention. And the designs, I swear nature has a very interesting way of designing. It's quite beautiful. So what I love about this piece is the fact that we still have this beautiful patterning, and but we also, if we think about the actual peacock, the actual animal, I love how she came in and she made it very cubical. So we have this kind of form that's in the foreground, but we also have beautiful patterning that is very organic because that is what nature is going to give you. And then we kind of get a little bit more geometric in the center with our lines and also our dots that kind of give us that like radial idea. So or the mandala idea that's there. So I just think these are really good examples because once again, we don't have a demo video, but I do believe students do a great job when it comes to this
Um,
project.
on the middle one, because again, the process is still elusive to me.
Okay.
Is the like the entire background? Did they start with the entire background of yellow, do you think? And then put all that rest of it on top, or
Oh, are you talking about let me
the
see if I can
peacock?
open uh of course for some reason my program is just not giving us what we need. So when it comes to the peacock, I'm trying to remember how did she start it? I believe I do remember her starting with the line drawing. And I do know she used markers. So she used alcohol markers, and I believe she also used acrylic markers. She did do it on marker paper. And I know she started with the drawing, and I think she may have, I can't remember if she used watercolors too as a base. I think she just used the alcohol markers as a base. And then I think she took it section by section. I don't believe she started with like a flat tone of yellow and then put the pattern on top. I believe she just kind of took it section by section. I know it took her a long time because she
Yeah.
went section by section. Um, so I think that is, if I can remember, because it was some time ago. Um, that is what was her process. Um, it's quite beautiful, and also there is a gradient. And I believe she was trying to get that gradient. So you can see it's a darker yellow. As we move to the center, it gets to a lighter yellow as well. So there is a gradient that's there. Can't remember if she did do a base and then do. I just remember seeing a drawing overall, and I think she did section by section. But yeah, it's a quite beautiful piece. Yeah. Real quick, I am just gonna go over the handout. Once I'm done with this, I'm gonna drop it into the chat. That way you guys have it. So, and it's just once again, it's just a repeat, but at least you guys have everything that you would need for this project. So once again, this is project two. This is all of the stuff that I went over for project two. So it's just here to kind of help you if you're just kind of like, oh, what am I supposed to be doing again? Examples of non-objective kind of cubicle style art or cubism style kind of art. And then we have, all right, come on, computer, with this spinning wheel of death. Not allowing me to be successful today. All right, so when it comes to examples of abstract art, well, it's that whole cubism idea that's there. We still have an idea of each of the objects, but it's just done in a completely cubical form. Different types of patterns that you can use. Once again, that was definitely pulled from the internet, so you could always easily get back to it on the Google. Our color scheme, so we have our CMYK, saturated, and also saturate and neutrals that's there. And of course, little notes if we need to write notes. So I will drop this into the